All right, Shalom. I want to give all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rekah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth. And Shalom to the hopeful elect. This is from FoxNews.com. It says FBI disrupts alleged explosive drone plot. Okay. Targeting White House UFC event, officials say. It says signal chats allegedly revealed 23 people discussing pre-operational activity. All right, let's get into it.
Ainsley, I'll send it over to you.
Thanks, Grip. An FBI news alert. The FBI is disrupting an alleged plot targeting last weekend's UFC Freedom 250 event at the White House. Officials telling Fox a network of nearly 24 suspects has been identified with at least 5 people in custody. The alleged plan included explosive-packed drones hitting buildings near the event, forcing a mass evacuation and steering crowds toward a pre-staged sniper team. A second wave was then planned to storm the White House gate. The FBI first learned of the threat last Wednesday and then worked with law enforcement across multiple states to stop it. Fox News contributor and George Washington University law professor Jonathan Turley joins us now. Jonathan, we're learning about this after the fact. We know that the fight went off without any problems. Thank the good Lord. They uncovered this on Signal chats. What's your reaction?
Well, Ainsley, this is really a cautionary tale. The fact is that the government is not the only party preparing for the July 4th celebrations. There are terrorist organizations that are drawn to the same events. If you are in the business of creating terror, there's no greater inducement than these types of celebrations, including the one at the White House.
Hey, and you never know, something can go down in July. All right, which we're going to get into this next, right? This is from the Straits Times. It says, as U.S. nears 250th birthday, poll shows many Americans doubt it will last another 250 years. Okay, absolutely not. You know? So it's getting ready to go down, as we've been saying. All right, let's get back into it.
What is really chilling about this is the level of preparation and planning. This was not just some type of improvised device or a sniper. This was a well set out pattern of events to maximize casualties. And we have to keep in mind that under the Biden administration, millions of unvetted people were released into this country. It would be a very dangerous delusion to believe that these terrorist organizations and countries did not use that open border to bring people inside.
Well, I'm reading a little bit more too, Jonathan. This is crazy. It says the one alleged suspect told investigators the goal was to target capitalist elites, billionaires, politicians who received donations from the American Israel Public Affairs Committee. The investigation stretched at least 12 FBI field offices. Thanks to all those FBI agents who thwarted this so that nobody was injured and our president was safe. All right, let's talk about Luigi Mangione.
Let's play that last part again on what she said.
Told investigators the goal was to target capitalist elites, billionaires, politicians who received donations from the American Israel Public Affairs Committee. The investigation stretched at least 12 FBI field offices.
Yeah, capitalists, elites, billionaires, right? You know, and we've been telling you that people are starting to get roused up, all right? And they're going to come after these people. That's why they, as we brought it out, let me see if I can pull it up, with the whole AI regulation, deeming people a domestic threat. Let me see if I can pull that up. AI threat. Yeah, there we go. Right, we had brought this out last week or so. It says FBI, DHS monitor new anti-tech extremism threat. Victor amid AI backlash. All right. So as we talked about, you know, they're deeming people domestic threats that are against the AI, that are against the tech billionaire elite. You see, so this is why they got all this stuff in place, because they know that eventually people are going to come after them. All right. So what I'm getting from it is that a major false flag is coming, right? Real quick. 2 Corinthians 2:11. And it reads, 2 Corinthians 2:11, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices, right? We're not ignorant of his plots and schemes. Okay? NLT, so that Satan will not outsmart us, for we are familiar with his evil schemes. And I want to make another point on that because, as we saw here in this title, right, it said that FBI disrupts alleged explosive drone plot targeting White House UFC event, officials say. So they were saying this about 3 months ago that that Iran had hacked U.S. drones, right? Let's go back to that, because we keep record of everything. And I remember that. Let me pull it up. That's why I said we're not ignorant of Satan's devices. Check this out. So this is from ABC News. This is 3 months ago. It says, FBI warns Iran wants to attack America with drones. All right, you see the correlation? Right? Let's play this.
Breaking tonight, this war in Iran, and now the FBI warning right here at home. The FBI alerting authorities that Iran wants to strike the U.S. homeland, possibly launching attack drones in the West. And tonight, President Trump is asked if he's concerned about a potential domestic terror attack. Here's Aaron Katursky.
Tonight, with the war against Iran in its 12th day, a new warning about how Iran may retaliate. In recent days, the FBI alerted police departments in California that Iran wants to launch attack drones against the West Coast. The alert, reviewed by ABC News, cites recently acquired information that Iran aspires to conduct a surprise attack using drones from an unidentified vessel off the coast of the United States homeland, specifically against unspecified targets in California.
Through its operatives, its proxies, its relationship with criminal organizations, Iran has the expertise, the personnel, the access to equipment to conduct a drone attack here in the United States. Now it has the incentive.
The FBI declined to comment, and we did not hear back from the White House. But today, President Trump said he is unconcerned about an Iranian strike on the United States.
Mr. President, are you worried, sir, about a domestic terror attack backed by Iran here, sir? No.
Iran.
See my point. So be prepared for something to happen and Iran to be blamed. All right? A false flag is inbound, right?
Iran is already using drones to retaliate, launching a wave of Shahed 136 drones that have struck the U.S. Embassy in Saudi Arabia and buildings in Bahrain, Kuwait, and the United Arab Emirates. And tonight, the Michigan-based medical equipment company Stryker says it was hit by a cyber attack, and there are indications a pro-Iran hacking group may be behind it.
And David, that cautionary alert to police in California contained no information about Iran's aspirational targets or timing. Governor Gavin Newsom's office saying tonight, David, that it's actively working to protect California communities. David?
Aaron, they're calling it a...
There you go. So, again, we're not ignorant of Satan's devices, all right? There you go. So, again, this is from straitstimes.com. The headline, again, it says, as U.S. nears 250th birthday, polls shows many Americans doubt it will last another 250 years. This is it here, man. Like I said, absolutely not. It's a done deal. Okay? And what is Trump doing now? Distracting the American people with the bread and circus, man. Okay? UFC at the White House. Come on, man. Right on the front lawn. Okay? Let's summarize this real quick. Okay. Because it's over, man. All right. Let me get that in Job as well. This is Job 14:5. It says, seeing his days are determined, the number of months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he could not pass. All right. So he's reached his... These Edomites have reached their limit in the rulership, man. Remember, pursuing the Revelation 20, Satan was loose for a little season. All right, now his season is over. Right? Job 14:5 NLT. You have decided the length of our lives. You know how many months we will live. and we are not given a minute longer. All right, so this whole 250-year, limit marker is spiritual, man. Okay, so here's a brief summary here on the left of this article. It says poll overview context. A recent Reuters IPSOS poll of 1,537 U.S. adults was conducted ahead of the nation's 250th Independence Day in July. Core finding: the results highlight deep partition divisions and growing pessimism regarding the country's future and democratic stability. Right, and that's been a very concerning thing amongst these so-called American people, man. All right, so people, they're pessimistic about the future of Babylon, because everybody knows that it's over. That we brought it out before that many people, how's it go? Many millions of American people believe that this is the end of the world. All right, we brought that out like a couple weeks back, right? It says national survival: 38% of respondents, 40% of Democrats, and 26% of Republicans do not believe the U.S. will endure as a single country for another 250 years. Threats to democracy: 67% of Americans believe U.S. democracy is in danger of failing, right? That's more than half. Okay? Everybody sees it, man. Americans believe U.S. democracy is in danger of failing. This is up from 57% in August 2025, largely driven by a growing concern among Republicans. Political violence: 77% of Americans believe political violence will likely increase over the next 5 years. All right? It's going to happen. Okay? Class wars, race wars, sedition of men, 2 Ezra 15. One group of people should stand up to fight against another group of people with swords in their hands. All right, that's prophecy. Okay, what else we got? Shifts in American exceptionalism. Overall decline: only 30% of respondents consider America the greatest country in the world, down from 38% in 2017. Partisan split. This decline is heavily driven by Democrats falling from 26% to 11%, while Republican sentiment has held steady around 60%. Let's see what else we got. Politicization of the 250th anniversary. Overall political majority of Americans, including 75% of Democrats and 50% of Republicans, feel the 250th anniversary events have become too political. And blah, blah, blah. All right, so yeah, you get the point, man. So something major could happen next month. All right? And as you see, again, from 3 months ago, okay, FBI warns Iran wants to attack America with drones. So you already know what's up, man. See that? Acts 17 and 26, it says, and have made of one blood all nations of men for to dwell on all the face of the earth, and have determined the times before appointed and the bounds of the habitation. Right? So America has been numbered. It's reached its limit. That's what we're saying. Like Elder Pastor Tahar was saying, hey, this thing can go down next month. The end can come next month. You never know. But we're in that time frame of the Lord's judgment. It's the point. So this place has reached its limit. Is what I'm making. The point I'm making, right? NLT, Acts 17:26. It says, "For one man have created all nations throughout the whole earth." So like from one man, he created all the nations throughout the whole earth. He decided beforehand when they should rise and fall. See? He decided beforehand when they should rise and fall, and he determined the boundaries, right? So this is it. Everything is spiritual. Okay? There's another point here. This is from News Target. It says, Israelis express anger and anxiety over new U.S.-Iran deal. All right, let's summarize this too. All right, that's the spirit. Check that out. You got the white dove or the white pigeon, and I was looking that up too. Okay, right. What does the white pigeon, white dove represent? Right. It says white pigeon symbolize peace, purity, and hope. They are often seen as messengers from the divine and represent new beginnings and positive change in life. All right, so here we go. And you know what they say about peace, right? We'll get that. Okay. 2 Thessalonians 5:3. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they should not escape. All right, so something's about to happen sooner or later, right? Let's pull this up too. All right. Israelis express anger and anxiety over new U.S.-Iran deal. Okay. No peace in sight. Okay. That's what they're telling you. All right. Let's see what we can take from here. It says U.S.-Iran peace agreement overview. The deal announced by U.S. President Donald Trump on June 14th and metadated by Pakistan. The agreement mandates a complete and permanent end to regional hostilities, with a formal signing scheduled for June 19th in Geneva. It's 3 days from now, right? Key terms: the U.S. will release approximately $12 billion in frozen Iranian assets. In exchange, Iran will reaffirm its commitment to the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty and reopen the Strait of Hormuz within 30 days, all right? Man, this is crazy, right? Background: the agreement follows months of stalled diplomacy and a 10-day military ultimatum issued by President Donald Trump. All right. It says Israeli political opposition failure to disarm Iran. Opposition leaders Yair Lapid and Yair Golan strongly condemned the deal, arguing it funnels billions to Tehran while leaving its missile program and nuclear infrastructure intact. All right, they're not going to get rid of their weapons, man. It's not going to happen. Refusal to comply. Top Israeli officials stated that the peace pact does not bind Israel. They confirm Israel will not abandon occupied territories in Gaza, Syria, and Lebanon. Okay. Desire for regime change. Reports note that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his allies heavily oppose a peaceful resolution, preferring to pursue regime change in Iran. All right, they're not with it. Okay. Let's see. Israeli public sentiment and strategic response. Public anxiety and betrayal. Many ordinary Israelis feel sold out by the U.S., fearing the deal merely postpones a future war. Anxiety remains high as Iran still possesses an estimated 1,500 missiles and refuses to halt uranium enrichment. Okay? So you get the point. All right? No peace is coming. All right? They shall seek peace and shall find none. There you go. All right, let's add some more. Just wanted to bring that out. So as we read in 1 Thessalonians 5:3, all right, when they look for peace and safety, just know that sudden destruction will follow. Okay? You know, they're talking about drones, drone strikes at the World Cup. And as we saw here, Iran wanted to attack America with drones. All right, so they got something major coming, man. All right? Let's see what else we got here. This is from yesterday, from the Telegraph. Trump is turning victory in Iran into an American humiliation. Right? Definitely, man. Hey, America's the laughing stock of the world right now, man. All right, and we're not gonna read all the way through this summary here. Just see what we got, any major points, and then we'll go on here. All right. Bear with me here. Let's let's see. Alienation and betrayal of allies. Diplomatic incompetence. The administration failed to align the European and Gulf allies while granting outsized influence to Turkey and Pakistan. Abandonment of Iranian protesters after publicly inciting Iran citizens to revolt and promising help. The president later dismissed the movement by stating he never cared about regime change, right? Yeah, so it's pretty much a wrap for America, man, at this point, right? Here's another point here. This is from America's First Report. It says, pump pain relief. Gas above $4 may end soon as U.S.-Iran peace deal sends oil lower, right? So how the scriptures say they should think to themselves to be in a good case, right? You know? This is 2nd Ezra 16 and 18, the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils, what shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. But for all these things, they should not turn from the wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges, right? People don't really care, man. People just want to be able to live and enjoy life, enjoy this summer, and, you know, hoping that things go back to normal, not knowing that things are going to continue to escalate and get worse. The point, verse 21. Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth that they shall think to themselves to be in good case. Even then shall evils grow upon earth, sore famine and great confusion. And that's what's happening now, man. All right. So a lot of people are going to get caught up into that. You know, like what did it say? Pump pain relief, man. Because hey, these gas prices are crazy right now, man. But hey, it's only going to get worse. But they're gonna push this false sense of peace to get the people to fall asleep, you know. But it's only gonna get worse. Okay, I'm gonna pull that up too. Current gasoline market and consumer impact. Prolonged high prices. The U.S. national average for gasoline has remained above $4 per gallon for 76 days due to a recent Gulf energy shock. Shift in spending. The financial squeeze has led to noticeable decreases in consumer spending at convenience stores, particularly on items like beer, energy drinks, and salty snacks. Catalyst for price relief. U.S.-Iran peace deal. President Trump recently announced a peace agreement triggering an immediate drop in WTI and Brent crude futures. Okay. Yeah. So again, people are gonna think themselves to be in a good case. All right, but that's not the case, right? This is real quick. Where's that other one? Right. Matter of fact, let me read on. Verse 22. For many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. And the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them, for the earth shall be wasted, and cities shall be cast down. So we're telling you through the Spirit that all hell is coming. Okay, whatever they have in store in the making, they're getting ready to unleash it. You see? So a lot is happening, man. You know, so you most definitely keep your head on the swivel. All right, we're a month away from that 250-year mark, man. So whatever they got going on, you know, is getting ready to happen sooner or later. You see? Pray this quick lesson was edifying, and shalom to the next one. Shalom.